Bom bom bayede, inkosi. Bom bom bayede, bom 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 bom.
Be a man of bravery, kaukweka seke kwaha. Be a man of bravery, kaukweka seke kwaha. This is what you are, kaukweka sahoka. This is what you are, kaukweka sahoka. Bayede, ingosi. Bayede, ingosi. Bayede, ingosi. Bayede, ingosi.
Broadcasting to you from Namibia to the rest of the world from the Swakopmund Dome. It is WorldSkills Africa, Swakopmund 2022. This is Skills Talk and I'm Patrick Sam, and tonight we have the insider's perspective coming to you. Obviously, as you know, this has been a week-long WorldSkills competition which is slowly but surely drawing to an end, and many of the participants here all unanimously agree that this has been top-notch. Now, this is only the second time that we are hosting this as a nation. The first time, obviously, being WorldSkills Africa in Kigali, Rwanda in 2019. But you know, they might have been in for some competition given what's been happening here in Namibia, setting the standards high. But to give us, it's not for me to decide how it's been going. To give us the true insider's perspective, I'm joined by an esteemed and insightful panel. Starting to my left, Faith Langat from Team Kenya. Welcome to tonight's Skills Talk.
Thank you very much.
Next to her, we have Mr. Zukile Mvalo, who is the Deputy Director General at the Skills Department of Higher Education and Training, representing Team South Africa.
Thank you, we are here.
Welcome. And then homegrown advantage there at the end, we have Ronaldo Katjiheve from Team Namibia. Welcome to Skills Talk tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, I think what's important to know is that there are more than 100 competitors from 10 African countries, and they are competing in 16 skills and what is referred to as Skills Olympics for Africa in 6 categories here as well. And let's get this conversation going. I mean, let the people know what they're missing out on. Faith, what's the significance of this event for you?
Okay. Yeah, for us, especially as a Team Kenya, and I think for all of us as Africa, what's been significant is the way that the skills are bringing us together. We are getting to learn that the skills across the borders need to be standardized. They need to be raised to a given standard. And for us to reach there, we've learned that we need to come together, learn together, practice together, as we also exchange from one another's strengths. We get to move to the next level together. So I have learned that there is strength in togetherness.
Strength in togetherness.
Yes.
Mr. Mvalo, when you hear that from a young person, what does that mean? Has there been great fragmentation on the continent when it comes to, you know, this perceived competition, that collaboration might not be the way? Are we setting a new precedent here? What does it mean for governments and public policy makers when we're witnessing events like this?
Well, I must say that this is one of those greatest opportunities in Africa, whereby you're bringing the continent together in skills that are so required for our socio-economic development. Because if you look into all the skills that are being committed year on, you know, you'll see that are those ones that we need in our economies. And you know that Africa, now we can say it's Africa's time now, because we have not been there. About 10 countries here now participating in this skills competition. So that's progress if you look back into the number of countries which are participating in Kigali and also the number of skills that we are competing on now. So it tells you that Africa is ready to conquer the world now.
Ronaldo, obviously being a Namibian, tell us about the journey before WorldSkills. How did you end up sitting in that seat? Particularly, we know during the day young children have been visiting and watching. What does it mean for a young Namibian child in the new plethora of opportunities that are being availed here? Tell us about your story also.
Okay, actually I was part of the 2019 WorldSkills competition that was held in Kazan, but before that I took part in a couple of competitions also before. Honestly, I didn't want to take part at first, but then I was asked by my chef, Chef Ralph. He asked me to join the competition because he felt that I had a skill that I can not sort of show off to the world, but that's something I can give back to the world. So at 2 occasions, he came to me, told me to take part, and I took part and I won. And now what I can say to the young kids is that, if you have a skill, if you have a passion for something, just go forth and do it. You never know where it will take you. And here am I now, sitting in this seat.
Faye, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. So, as we've all heard from our team here, skill is very important. And whatever skill you have, if you are passionate about it, and if you give your best, and if you focus, you'll go far. Okay. Yes. So it's the focus, it's the commitment that you give to your
How
skills.
do you even, as a young woman, TVET, obviously overcoming certain stereotypes, how does this even become an option for a young girl in Kenya? Who cares about that? Who supports that?
I think maybe I will give the scenario using my story. When I was a young girl, one thing I knew is that if I wanted to go far in life, I would need to be curious. So I learned the art of curiosity when I was very, very young, as a young girl. So with this skill of being curious, I was able to go an extra mile first in being the best in my class, because I was able to research further and read further, and I was not scared of any subject. So I took all the sciences. Yes, I was also able to choose a course of my choice, which was chemical and process engineering. And then when I graduated with the same curiosity, I knew that just being employed locally in Kenya and having studied in Kenya was not enough. I knew there were so many opportunities out there, and I continued researching and investigating what's it after my first degree in engineering. What's out there? How can I improve my skill? So I chose to continue learning. And that's when I got an opportunity to go to Germany for a scholarship. And I was based in one of the key sponsors of WorldSkills. That's Festo. And one thing I have now learned over the years is that the higher you go, the better you are at your skill. You reach a point whereby there are so many opportunities for you. And at some point you get to choose. Sometimes you get to do 2 jobs or even 3. Yes.
But I think as beautiful as that story is, the question is, out of 10 girls or 10 young people who are not in school, how many of them have access to this opportunity? So this also becomes an equity issue. At the same time, how does government address that? Who has opportunities to these things that provide young people mobility, a sense of pride and dignity? How do we make this more readily available?
Well, what I can say, especially in South Africa, the work that we are doing, we started in 2013, whereby we declared 2013 as a year of artisan. So it meant then, therefore, that as government, we must go to schools, especially high schools, whereby advising young people with career choices, especially in your artisanal trades. And then what we have learned there during that time was that we needed to do more, as we were doing in 2013. And we declared 2014-2024 Decade of Artisan. And then we've been running that program. And then I can tell you, I can see now, especially young women coming in, in these trades. Trades normally would be traditionally referred to as for males. And I'm quite very happy that in South Africa now, we didn't bring only young males here. We brought also young females, something that is quite very inspiring. We are going to get back in any way to take the campaign into schools, as you are doing, especially with your high schools. Also in radios, whether it's electronic or print media in South Africa, whereby we are encouraging young people to say it's cool to be an artisan. And I must say we're starting to see some results of young people, especially women, coming into the fold now and saying also want to be counted in as women in these trades, which were traditionally your main trade. So quite very impressive work. But then there is still a long way to go.
I'll take the opportunity, while it prevails here. We've had discussions here on Skills Talk for the last 2 nights, from the president of WorldSkills International. And the big thing that's coming out is that not only should we just provide skills, it needs to be aligned at an individual level with things like innovation and entrepreneurship, but more importantly, they were speaking about linking it to industry. Are we just creating artisans without a link towards, for instance, Namibia has green hydrogen as a national priority now. Should it be strategic to say we want to develop not just any type of artisan, but target the type of artisans that we're developing? What's response to general public policymakers?
What I will tell you, what we have done in South Africa in 2012, the president in the State of the Nation address said the country will be rolling out the national infrastructure, very massive, in trillions of rands in South Africa. So what we have done then as a Department of Higher Education and Training, we then met and then we said, okay, fine, these are the skills that will be required as we'll be rolling out the national infrastructure program in the country. We identified about 13 trades, priority trades that we must spend much more money in them in South Africa. And importantly, I like the fact that you say you bring industry, because without the industry, obviously, you are not likely to succeed, especially for artisanal, because you can only train artisan at a workplace. You cannot train an artisan, in a college. It's only in a workplace, because spending most of the time in a workplace. And we started with that program. We launched it in 2019. Now we are in a third year of that program, and then one can tell that we're yielding what we planned for. And then obviously we still need to do more around this particular area. And I must say, the benefits that we have accrued as well is for our public TVET colleges, because now we have more TVET colleges which you can do trade tests. In the past, we'll do it in the private sector. Now if you go to South Africa, more than 10 TVET colleges we are now trade testing, something that was not there before. And also the infrastructure, because when we identified more than 19 TVET colleges in the country, we said then we need to support them, train the lecturers, and ensure that we're working with the industry. And anyway, in all those 13 trades, what we've done was to bring industry into the fold, to not only to be part of opening up of the workplaces, but also to be part of the curriculum development. Because if you involve employers, that is what we have learned, you are likely then therefore to have a high absorption rate. And I can tell you, when we're doing our own tracer studies, we do find that more than 80% of those who participated in artisanal trades, they are easily absorbed, but then as well create their own jobs, which is quite very important, because it's not that a young person, must be trained and look for employment or employer. He or she must be an employer, create employment in that process. So this is what we are seeing, but I must say it's still early stages. We're still looking forward, because we started with this program in 2019, but then we're driving quite very hard. And to mention, in South Africa, we in the National Development Plan, we said by 2030 we should be producing 30,000 artisans as a country. So that is our goal. Now we're producing somewhere, I think the year ended 31st March, about 15,106. So it means then therefore getting closer to that goal of 2030 of producing 30,000 artisans per annum. And the focus obviously is on young people, because we need young people, because that's where you have more of, you go in South Africa, about 35% of the population is young people. Hence and therefore that our focus is on young people.
Very interesting insight. Well, we've got some surprising news for the guests at home. You can call us in tonight via WhatsApp. The number is +264 644 406 401 +264 644 401. So you can join the program tonight, engage here with us. Let's get to Ronaldo. What does it mean for you to be here?
From my own point of view, I would say it means a lot because an event of this magnitude for Namibia is something really big. Like you said earlier, this is like the second event that's being held in Africa, and for us to the world, we are like giving a whole package that we want to be like is how can I say, one. We want to be one, like all African countries coming together, doing something, setting a standard that we can be able to, how can I say, showcase to the world, to the external world, so that if a person probably travels from Africa to the European side, they won't struggle to blend in because we already have got the skills here. So it means a lot. It means really a lot.
So in terms of like, you know, the gains that you get out of here, is it you come here, have a great time for a week, and then how does the reality of your life change when you participate at an event like this? What are you going back to?
Okay, let me just reference the competition I faced when I went to Russia.
So what category are you in?
I am in cooking.
Okay.
Yes. Personally, I would say how that competition changed me. It changed my mindset actually. My mindset became very different. The way I used to see life, I don't see it the same way anymore. My perception really changed.
After shot.
Yes, it's before and after. So I believe the same thing for the competitors here. Just some of them, they probably haven't been in a plane before or been to a foreign country, which was the same cases as I was in. And after going through all those experiences, you know, your mind starts to develop in a different way where you become very curious and you just want to learn more. You just want to become better at what you do, which is what I am basically also busy doing with. You know, a person never stops learning. Learning is like it's a never-ending story. It's like it's an infinity thing. It just continues and it continues. So it's really amazing.
So how much has and is WorldSkills Africa inspiring young people?
I think as a continent with our median age of less than 20 or thereabouts 20, we have so many youth who've been exposed to sometimes not so many good things. We've had some wars, and sometimes also politics and so forth in Africa. So for them to have an opportunity to come together through the power of skill, I think it's going to change us and all of us in Africa forever. And since we are now focusing in our youth, we know that the future is going to be different. We are going to have youth who are more focused on the skill. And the good thing with what we do here at WorldSkills is that we are aligning our skills to the industry. We're trying to see what the industry needs today, tomorrow, and not only Africa industry. We are looking at the industry holistically. Like even when you see the skills being showcased here, when you see the kind of technologies that are being showcased here, they are not only the technologies applicable to Africa, they are the technologies that are applicable to the global marketplace. So I'm seeing these youth being a global talent if we this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kenya has a very interesting approach to their preparation towards WorldSkills Africa, Swakopmund. Well, it is, you know, only having 3 competitors, their participation seems to be aligned to, for instance, what President Uhuru Kenyatta's development blueprint, the Big 4 agenda, has in terms of food security issues, affordable housing, manufacturing and affordable health care. Talk to us about how you feel as being part of Team Kenya, being aligned to greater national development interests.
Yeah. First of all, to give a broader picture, WorldSkills Kenya, when we were starting to set it up, we chose about 17 skills. And those 17 skills were aligning to our Big 4 agenda, which our president Adalia mentioned to us. And also, we looked at the Sustainable Development Goals. and how far we are in achieving them. Then when we set out these 17, we now came down further to priority 3. So those are the skills we thought we want to start with. And one of the skills is mechatronics, and the other one is hospitality, that's the cooking and restaurant service. And it's for a very specific reason that we chose those skills. Kenya, as we know, is a tourist country. We depend on tourism a lot. And we felt that if we give our youth the possibility to perfect this skill, we are going to benefit as a country in the long run. One, these youth are able to improve their economic earnings, and of course, as a country, we are going to improve our GDP. The second thing is mechatronics. Currently, we are less than 10% when it comes to manufacturing contribution to the GDP. And we know that manufacturing has multiplying effects, and it can quickly double or triple our GDP more than we can have it in our raw material export, for instance. So we decided to categorically go for mechatronics, develop it, understanding also that it's the backbone of the future.
For us, we have limited knowing.
Okay. So mechatronics is the fusion of mechanical, electronics, and informatics. So yeah, in the recent past, we would focus on mechanical training because most of our gadgets were mechanical based. You hold it and push it like this, and it opens or closes. Even for instance, our doors, you had to pull it like this. But in the recent past, we've seen the integration of electronics. That was in the third industrial revolution. So with the electronics coming in, we are seeing our gadgets are both mechanical and electrical. But now in this era of fourth industrial revolution, we have the communication that has been added to it because of the effects of the Internet of Things and the 5G, the ability of things to communicate to one another and the possibilities that Internet has brought to us. So fusing all that together becomes mechatronics.
Wow, that
Yes.
sounds mega big. Ms. Mvalo, let's talk a little bit about South Africa's approach here. Obviously competing in all 16 categories. You stated that you think you might be taking first prize in the various categories. How is it looking? Are you on track?
Well, I must say the best team shall win. The best team shall win because I'm quite very impressed with the work that is being done by the African countries. And for me to see African countries doing what they are doing on the floor down there in terms of competition is something that is very exciting. Well, obviously, South Africa is also a part of Africa, and we really hope that by the end of day on Saturday, the best man, the best woman shall prevail. So I'm quite very happy with the work. I've been going through, and my deputy minister will be going through as well tomorrow. He has just arrived today, so everyone is quite very confident that now that the WorldSkills Africa is played in Africa, an African country shall prevail.
But I mean, think about it. You started this in 1990. You're in Amsterdam. You are the oldest dog in the yard. How much longer do you think you're going to sustain that advantage of the years of accumulated experience?
Well, I must say, you see, when we started, early years, we're having about one, skill that we're participating in. And now I went to Germany, I went to United Arab Emirates. We're competing on 21 areas, and now we will be competing in 41 areas now in Shanghai. And here we're competing in 14 areas. In our own country, we're going to have a national skills competition that is planned for June, whereby we'll be having 41 areas that will be competing on. Those are the areas that we'll be bringing into Shanghai. And we really hope that we are going to really, raise quite very high the African flag, of course, with our African countries. And the way they are doing it here, one is having all the confidence that we are going to bring it home now this time around.
So it's getting more competitive.
Yeah, with all the 10 countries that are here. Yeah,
Ronaldo,
we'll bring it home.
what's the spirit in Team Namibia? What's happening there?
All is good.
Yeah?
That's all I would
How are
say.
we looking on the competition front? What's happening?
Okay, since I have like direct contact with the competitors, I would say they are quite confident. Some of them have a lot of nerves, but I was told before that if you have a lot of nerves, it's a good thing. it shows progress. But I would say from the team, all of them have practiced well, and they are quite confident. And also, this is also a good way for them to prepare for Shanghai, because Shanghai is like the biggest one.
Yes, that's what we're moving on to. I mean, Shanghai, we're talking about the WorldSkills global platform.
Yes.
Over 300 competitors competing in 65 skill areas. What does preparation look like when you're getting ready for WorldSkills International?
Yes, we are getting ready for WorldSkills International because we know, of course, it's going to be bigger and it's going to be better. So we must be there to represent. And in our preparations, we have recently forged partnerships with our other WorldSkills members. So we have a recent partnership with WorldSkills Germany, and which we are currently doing an exchange program for our experts. So they get to come to Kenya, they get to assess the needs, the gaps, and they get to advise us on what we need to do in order to be fully prepared for Shanghai. And the next steps are also that we are going to take these experts to Germany to see how the skill is being prepared, get to see the technologies, and also get to experience the first-hand.
But that's interesting, because then
Yes.
it's also just not just about the very heavy competition, but this idea of almost like a healthy back end where there's collaboration taking place. Why is that so important?
I think collaborations are very important because, yes, this is a competition, but in the end, we have one goal: to improve our skills, to raise the standard of our skilled young people all over the world. And that is the mission of WorldSkills. So when we come, yes, we come, we meet, and then we compete, but then we go home, we identify the strengths of a given country, and we try to forge partnerships and get to train one another on the different skills so that in the end, we are all winning together.
What a
Yes.
beautiful way to sum them up. The lines have opened, the numbers on the screens as well. That's +26464 406 401. I was wrong about accessing us through WhatsApp. It has to be via a landline. So whether you're here throughout the world, please give us a call, +26464 406 401 201. It's on the line 201. The correct number is appearing on your screens. Let's move on to, in terms of the connection between WorldSkills Africa, this competition, Mr. Mvalo, and how much more it allows young people to be prepared for WorldSkills International. Obviously, this is the second time this is taking place. Do you find it that you'll be better prepared, more competitive, expecting greater returns from the investments we put in?
No, I must say this competition in South Africa, we take it very serious because we know the potential, huge potential in Africa. And I should think is what we have seen since we started here with the competition, to see how African countries are doing in terms of these skills. So we're quite very happy where we are today. And then, as I said earlier on, as we are going to Shanghai, the flag of Africa is going to be held high amongst many nations of the world. And I should think, it is the time for Africa. And the time for Africa is now. So we're getting ourselves ready. Well, we might be having now 10 countries that are participating, but then we're looking forward to ensure that we are really building a strong Africa, especially with regard to skills competition, whereby many more countries are coming on board, and then it's a work that we think will be able to massify as we are getting ahead. So we're going to Shanghai. Then when we come back to Shanghai, obviously, we are also going to do our own post-mortem to say we've started in Namibia, and now we've gone to Shanghai. What is that did we bring back to Africa when we went to Shanghai? So we have to look into all angles and do assessment of the work and how we have performed and where we need to improve. And I can tell you that now it is our own time as Africa. We are going to shine. We have started it with 10 countries. I know in Kigali, we're about 6 countries, now it's 10 countries. And then we really hope when we go for the next iteration of African skills competition, we might be having maybe close to 20 countries because who knows, we had 6 countries and now we have got 10 countries. And then when you come back and there is a lot of motivation and everyone is getting excited, you go in our own countries, you go in South Africa, everyone in the social media, they are saying hands up, thumbs up, you know, to Africa. So it's our own time. And I'm quite very happy with the work that we are doing and collaborations because we have learned a lot that we need to collaborate not only as African countries but also as countries of the world. Because we can learn, not that we can learn from other countries, they can learn a lot also from African countries on how we are conducting ourselves. You see, there are skills very important. Normally we don't take notice of them. It's like your teamwork. You know, it's your communication, because this is what is required. Critical thinking, you know, problem solving, those are the soft skills that are quite very important, which are so required, especially when a young person gets back to the industry, because when you get back to the industry, that's where you must interact with others. You're not working alone. So this is what we are seeing here, young people speaking with each other, communicating with each other, solving problems together, sharing their own experiences, and we will make our own mark. And I must say, you know, come Shanghai will be bringing something to Africa.
Okay. Ronaldo, Team Namibia, with your experience at Kazan in 2019, what lessons do you and your team learned to help you prepare for places like this, WorldSkills Africa, but also for WorldSkills International?
The lessons we've learned from there are quite a lot, I would say. In the end, I would say that a competition is just not all about winning. It's about the experience you get and how you can improve the next time you compete. So I would say that I am quite confident that we will perform well here, but we'll do better in Shanghai. Like we'll do like a lot of better improvements from how he did. Like from my own experience, like there are a couple of mistakes that I've performed myself, like in terms of the standards. We couldn't meet some of the standards because of how things are in Africa. And we also couldn't use some of the machines because some of the stuff that we're using are like stuff we're using for the first time. So now being part of this, it's like it's gonna help us like to improve our skills so that when you go that side, you'll be able to relate to whatever the world is doing, you know. Yeah.
Well, remember the viewers at home, you can join the conversation. The number is +264. It's appearing on your screen, 644062001. Please give us a call. We really want to hear from you here at the Dome. Faith, how does this experience translate into opportunities of mobility in your life? You know, it's great that you are here, but what does this mean in terms of things like whether it's creating employment, getting employment? What are the gains in life outside of the skills context?
I think one thing we must appreciate is that anytime you bring yourself out, anytime you come out to do something, and for this case, coming out to participate in the skills competition, you don't only come to compete. Remember, there are other people you interact with, other nationalities. You exchange and even understand their cultures. You learn from them the soft skills. Sometimes you identify a skill that they have that you don't have. You get to acquire it or make a plan on how you're going to acquire it. Sometimes you come from maybe a technical background like myself, for instance, but you get to learn so much from the arts courses. Like I was looking at one of our competitors from the restaurant service, the way she was calmly attending to the guests, and the way she was taking her attention, and the way carrying herself around that has come with the training in her field. I looked at it and I thought, wow, I need this skill. It's not only for the arts people, it's also for the technicians in the industry, even the automobile repair, the guys who repair the car. There are these soft skills that we need in our lives. And sometimes when you are focusing on training in your area, you don't get to learn them because they are not a priority in your area, but you definitely need them in life. Yes.
So what are the gains? So now that you've learned all these things from other areas besides your own, what are the gains? Does your income increase? Does your access to new opportunities, are you exportable to markets outside of Kenya? What happens?
I think one thing that Africa is doing, and we've all seen, is that regions are coming together. For instance, we are looking at the East African community strengthening itself. We are looking at the strengthening of the SADC region, the ECOWAS region. And these regions are, are creating direct and indirect opportunities. For instance, these regional offices, they have, for instance, in East Africa, we have a regional office in Arusha. And these regional offices will want employees. If you've exposed yourself across your border, you've participated in a competition in, let's say, Tanzania, Rwanda, when they get to sit down and say who would be best suitable for this role, when you come for the interview, of course, you stand a better chance than if you just been in your country doing your own thing alone. So it's important to go across the border. It's
what does
important.
it mean for Africans, young Africans, you know, because we always talk about travel is very difficult on the continent. What does it mean now that you have that access to that travel for young Africans, you know, with, I mean, obviously in the climate of the competition?
Yeah. Of course, for myself, it has brought me so many opportunities. And maybe I can say I learned about WorldSkills for the first time when I was in Germany. So you see, I got exposed to WorldSkills when I was doing my scholarship in Festo. And then I came to Kenya because of my experience in Festo, which is a long-standing partner of WorldSkills. They gave me an opportunity to be a technical delegate assistant. Then I've gone ahead to the point where I'm now coordinating the team, besides my role at Festo, which I do it diligently every day. So it has exposed me to so much travel, and now coming here, I know there are so many good things waiting for me. So traveling is, and exposure, I can say, is the best teacher and the best opener. Yes.
Mr. Mvalo, what are some of the trickle-down benefits at a macro level when we're looking at the academy? We're looking at the forms of education that we're promoting to address issues that are paramount of unemployment, particularly youth unemployment, and the possible instability that that can cause for African states. How significant is this vehicle of TVET?
Well, I must say, in South Africa, we're investing a lot in our TVET education. Because if you look into the structure of the economy itself, the skills that you require, it will be your mid-level skills, not your high-end skills you get in universities, and you can only get them in TVET colleges. And though you go to South Africa, you'll see that mostly in our universities, the enrollment is about 1 million, just above 1 million in our university in South Africa. You look into our TVET colleges, currently the enrollment is about 450,000. I'm just making reference to 2020. So it tells you then therefore that a lot of work needs to be done in terms of encouraging young people to say to young people in the country, let's go to the TVET education, because we know if you speak of your infrastructure, your energy security, your agriculture, food security, your digital economy, you need in the main your mid-level skills, you know, because you can only get your artisans, your occupational programs only in TVET colleges. And we know the value of your occupational programs, your artisans.
We have a call. Oh, we just dropped that caller. I think we waited a little too long. If that caller gets the opportunity, please do call back again. As you know, the number is +264 64 406 201. Please do give us a call. I didn't really want to interrupt as the caller was coming through. But as we, I think, trying to wrap the value around TVET education, but also from the personal perspective, we know that a lot of young people are not just unemployed, but are unskilled as well. Where do you start? You know, because people are like, I want to be where Ronaldo is sitting. But Ronaldo, where did you start? What environments were you exposed to that were enabling? So you could, you know, not just be sitting here, but be competing also in foreign countries.
I would say it all started in my mom's kitchen. Yeah, I didn't know I actually loved cooking, but what I wanted to become was I wanted to be a pilot at first. But after high school, I noticed that piloting was quite expensive, and I couldn't afford it, and there were no loans being offered for that. So I decided, like, actually my brother was the one who advised me. I was like, no, since you can cook at home, like you really cook nice food, why don't you try doing hospitality? I was like, hospitality, okay, let me give that a shot and see what's going to happen without knowing that things are going to turn out this way. So I went to NUST. In my first year, we in hospitality you only do like cooking for 6 months. So after 6 months, I saw that, whoa, I really loved being in the kitchen rather than doing the management stuff and all the theoretical things. I didn't like that, but I just loved cooking. So afterwards, the ball just started rolling. I got my first job. I moved out of my mom's place. Yeah, I got my first job in my first year. And then from there, I started working with another chef from France, Chef David. So I was freelancing in my second year. In my third year, I got my a job again where I was a part-time employee, and that was at El Barrio. Yeah, so I worked there for quite some time, stayed there for 4 years, got promoted twice, and then afterwards I joined the WorldSkills competition. And from there, everything just started growing. I just started becoming more passionate, just wanted to learn more. And now I would say that I am an advocate for skills, and I would advise someone, like, if you really have a passion for something, if you really want to do something, at first you would not know that you love something.
But as much as you love it, how do you face like the stereotypes that come along with, you know, just being in a TVET space? How do you change perspective on that?
Yeah, with the stereotyping, I would say, I won't say we won't blame the youth for that actually, but I would blame the root, which is our parents that raised us. People have a perception that somebody who studied at university is much more qualified. And that's like the easy route, you know. It's like you study and then you get a degree and you get a job. You're paid for life until you're 60. You retire and all that. But with TVET, it's something different. It's like you really have to put the work in. It's like getting a canvas and you have the pen in your hand and you write your own story. That's how TVET is. With the stereotyping, I would say that our parents need to understand that we need skills. A skill is like something that you can have for life. Like, how can I say, the world can, like now that we have wars, anything can happen, but somebody with a skill can be able to provide for himself, even if it's like $1 or $2 to survive.
Not just as a policymaker, but as an elder. Let's speak to that point, to the demographic. Yes. What's your position in changing what he's talking about, the challenge, that intergenerational challenge, that young people aren't the ones that are the beholders of these stereotypes in terms of either intelligence or celebration, acknowledgement, recognition, paradigm shift? How does that happen?
No, it's very interesting. We were discussing earlier around, you know, here in the Dome with some of the colleagues, whereby we're dealing with this issue, that how do we really encourage young people to venture into artisanal programs, in the main going to our TVET education. You know, one colleague was saying the best way to do is to work with parents, because parents do have influence over their own children. Because normally we grow up, you see your father, you see your mother, and then they are telling you that, you see my child, for you to prosper, you must go to university, you must become a teacher, you must become this and that, you know. So parents, the family is quite very important in the work that we are doing of career development services. Then I considered with that colleague who was raising this point quite very sharply. Then I said, yes, in as much as we do this work, you know, we're going to high schools, we have career festivals, we've got all these great events, but then we need really to bring into the fold, you know, parents. Let's tell the story to parents, because it's like if you need a plumber, you are not going to get someone from a university. And plumber is something that is close. You know, it's in your household. It's happening right now. You need a plumber. It's 12 o'clock. It's midnight. You know, you are not going to get someone from a university. But then you're going to get someone who has gone into a TVET college, electricians, you know, welders. You know, those are very important skills that we require, not only for the, you know, for the employment, but then to create, you know, employment. So it's a work that we must do. It's like when I was saying to you just now that in South Africa, you see, in university enrollment is just above 1 million. And then you go to TVET colleges, enrollment is somewhere at 452,000. And we have 50,000 TVET colleges in South Africa, and we have 26 universities. Then one would say you should be having that 1 million in TVET colleges, but you're having that 1 million in universities. So it means then, therefore, it's the work that we have to do, you know, as parents, as our communities, and everybody, to just show them the way to say, right now we're here, we're not competing in skills that you get in universities. Yes, there are others that you get in universities. For example, in South Africa, we bring about 2 universities here, which are also competing, but in the main, 9 out of those 14 competitors who are here are from TVET colleges. And now many of them will be going to Shanghai. None from the universities, it might be 1 or 2. So it tells you the story that if you have gone through the TVET education, you have gone through your artisanal programs, so the world, you know, is just unlimited for you, can be anywhere. A plumber, you need plumber in Japan, you need plumber in Russia, you need plumber wherever in the world. So it's the work that we must do with almost everybody, trying to really create that excitement, you know, in artisanal trades, in TVET education, and so on. Thanks very much.
Faith, how did you convince your family? How did they buy into this artisan career for you?
Yeah. Okay, maybe for my case, I come from a family of engineers. We are 6 of us, and 5 of us are engineers, and 3 are girls. So it's me and my 2 sisters. The other sister works for the electricity transmission company in Kenya, and she's a design engineer. And then the other one is a recent graduate in mechatronics engineering. So basically, I've come from that family. And what inspired us a lot is a father that believed in us. Of course, our mom also supported us and long believed in us. But I think the father figure, knowing the men in our society, that it was hard in the beginning to accept their girls or their daughters to study technical course. I think my father really did it from a very young age. Did it to us from when we were very young. He was himself a physics teacher, and I think he understood from the beginning that daughters also can be technical people. He heard our voice as much as he hears our brother's voice. He gave us space, he gave us our voice. In fact, when I came out and I heard that, oh, men sometimes put down ladies, I was struggling to understand because I never saw it in my dad till this day. So I think he was a champion of technical engineering in girls, and that really inspired us to continue with education. So I'm forever grateful for my father.
We need more champions like that. Ronaldo, in closing, what's your message to young people that don't think that this is actually a serious possibility and an opportunity and another option that, you know, opens up the field of decisions in terms of what you can do with your life? What's your message to them?
The only message I have is that a passion is something that's really great, you know. Some people say that passion doesn't pay, Yes. It depends on how you take it. Like I said before, like the world is like a canvas and you have the pen, so you can write whatever you want. By that I mean like taking every opportunity you have, like every chance you get. For example, what I used to do before I even joined the competition, or when I joined the competition, just before that and after, I used to work for free sometimes, just so I can get that more knowledge and understand like how can I improve myself, how can I be the best chef, or provide the best food to people.
Hours.
Yes, I would say that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Mvalo, closing remarks.
No, all what I can say is that if you want to change the world, you must join the world of artisans.
Thank you very much. Faith, you get to say the last from the panelists.
Yes. I think I'd like to give young people a scenario. I want us to look at the world. Let's understand that the world is a socio-economic vacuum. That's how I see it myself. Because without the value add from people, it cannot be anything. When anything you see, from what you're wearing, what you're putting on, the AC in your room, anything, all these, the cameras, in fact, everything, it was value added by someone. So I want us to really take that perspective deeply into our hearts and understand that the cycle of life is to give, to add value, to increase. It's not to take away. So when you reach a point where we are just taking away, you graduated or you don't want to go to school, you want to steal, that's not, the world will not be sustainable.
Well, I think that's the best way to finish the show. Imagine a sustainable world where you add value to what's taking place in it. I think that the big bottom line here is that we need to ensure some form of taking care of sustainability in terms of the planet, what it means for people and prosperity. That's all the time we had for Skills Talk. Until tomorrow night, from me, Patrick Sam, good night.
Be a man of bravery, kaukweka seke kwaha. Be a man of bravery, kaukweka seke kwaha. This is what you are, kaukweka sahoka. This is what you are, kaukweka sahoka.
Bum